So what do they do both? What dropped away? Just missing.
back for the second half here from Blundstone Arena as spectators make their way off the field and the players make their way back on it. Launceston not quite out of the sheds yet. Or am I imagining that? No, I don't think they've emerged yet. Umpire's been out for a while as Clarence go into a huddle, and they'd be pretty happy with how things have unfolded thus far, Lee Elder.
With the exception of the injury, yes, of course. I mean, it'd be interesting to see whether that actually has an impact on their rotations. Obviously, very large ground, only 16 aside. You're down to 3 on the bench, and how does that impact your run? But look like a class above today. Obviously, there is some talent within the North Launceston group, and Maggie Cuthbertson's certainly been a standout player for the game. But I just don't see where they can really get on top. They can keep that pressure up as they done, but it didn't stop the Clarence inside 50. It just meant they were less effective going inside as they probably were in that first quarter. But Clarence have got the talent. They've certainly got what seems to be the inside measured up, and players like Garlow, Bresnahan seem to be covering, and Jesse Williams seem to be covering the outside pretty well, which I thought might be a bit of a strength of North Launceston's today. But they can only keep working. I think the margin's probably too much, but you never know what can happen in a game of footy and with one team with one player down.
There's a big mountain to climb, that's for sure. 6-4-40, 1-8 the equation. So North Launceston needs some sort of second half to climb on top of this Clarence team that's, nicely put. They've been a fair bit better inside, I reckon, and have been superior on the outside where you thought potentially North Launceston could climb on top. Absolutely,
and I think part of why they've looked so good on outside is their disposal efficiency's been very good, and that comes from your smarts with Bresnahan and Jesse Williams type.
So back underway here at Blundstone Arena. Rucks go at it. Townsend wins it down. Cuthbertson wins the footy. Clearance the way of North Launceston, but as has so often been the case today, straight down the throat of Wise. She drops it off to Elliston. Kicks towards Williams. Couldn't quite bring it under a spell. One now, and here they go, North Launceston through Clifford. Kick over the top, looking for the runners. Arriving on the scene is Sulzberger. Drops it off to the dangerous McKinnell. Gets a kick away, doesn't quite reach its intended target. Gathered now, and good bit of work. Nicely done, really well finished off.
Cara Hennessy.
Cara Hennessy showed real style with that turn and goal, and gives North Lonnie a bit of life as they start this second half.
Another one of those under 16 players in the Devils program this year. She's known to be a really strong overhead mark, but positioning hasn't been great today, but used her body really well. Left footer, which always surprises a few players when they turn on the left, but used the ball really well to score their second goal.
So back underway, Cuthbertson onto this one. What can North Lonnie do? Can they get a couple in a hurry? Clifford in and under, doing the work. Scott the other way. Good battle. Clifford on the end of this thanks to a good tackle. Kicking long. Gets off hands. They just keep on scrumming it forward here. North Launceston. Here's Bresnahan. Oh, she might be in trouble. Ran herself into a spot of bother, did Bresnahan. And North Launceston have another good look at the sticks.
And the difference here is Clifford has been hugely important inside. So she's had 2 clearances, and they've had 2 opportunities to have shots at goal.
So Wilson's kick was a shocker, looking for Sulzberger, and Clarence might get themselves out of a sticky situation. Still trying harder, North Launceston. The kick back in from the latest goal kicker, Hennessy, offline. All the scoring so far this term the way of the Bombers. So Wise from full back. 6-4-40, 2-3-15. She's allowed to just march out. Not sure I would have given her 23 metres. She kicks towards Williams. Off hands. And they'll force another stoppage.
Be interesting to see if this little burst of excitement actually powers him to have a really strong third quarter.
So down off hands again, the way of North Launceston. It's gathered by Harper, throws it on the boot, doesn't get much distance, but works out okay. Prockpiece makes good of it. Takes a good grab, steers inboard. Nice ball. You hear that in the voice of Lee Elder. Was happy with that one. This kick, I was looking for Mitchell. Bresnahan interrupted it and then tried to say, oh, it should have been yours in the first place, have it back. Not quite. What looked like a promising move, brought unstuck.
Just a lack of communication between the two that sit about 3 metres away from each other.
That's true. Comes out the back. It's the first time you'll hear a lack of communication from Nicole Bresnahan. Usually talks too much as the kick comes away for the boot of Cuthbertson. Couldn't quite find her intended target in Clifford.
I know it's early on, but they've actually just got a little bit of control inside, so it'll be interesting to see if that remains.
Here's Bresnahan. Oh, a bit of fire. A bit feisty. Slaps it on the boot. Has a free player out there, but doesn't get there because Cuthbertson's standing in the way. Off that reliable left.
Great
Picks
kick.
out her target with perfection. It's Farrow. Runs herself into a bit of trouble. In the end, manages to squeeze out a hand pass. Clifford tries to keep it alive. Scott now just steers the ball inside to Harper. Harper now looks down the line for Williams. Done well to take a grab in that. And a couple of North Launceston players riding shotgun. So here's Williams, just jinx round one. Gets her kick away. Beautiful pass for Mitchell. So Mitchell, as the players stream back towards goal, what will she do? Just pokes it into vacant space. It wasn't a bad idea, but well read in the finish by Ella McKenzie. Drops it off to Farrell. Long and strong. And straight into the arms. It was spilt out of the hands right there of Anderson. We'll get it moving North Launceston. Here they go. Here's a golden opportunity. Not much to aim at. Putting on the boot was Salzberger. Bouncing ball towards Hennessy. Hennessy has to gather. Oh, the opposing player lost her footing. Hennessy now runs herself into a spot of bother. Got to get it on the boot. Can't. It should have been a North Launceston goal.
It's a left footer's curse, isn't it?
Just had to try and get ball to boot. Didn't quite happen. That is a very gutsy kick from full back, but Elliston takes the grab. Here they move. Clarence, Pearce over the top. That's to no one but red and black. Cuthbertson brings it down, bursting through. That's nice stuff from Pearce. Gets distance. Farrell's read that straight off the boot. She's done that all day. Been one of the shining lights for North Launceston. Kicks out onto the wing. Has picked her target very well. They've got some great users in this team. I know you've said it all day, but very nice. And again, commentary mockers, because that was not good use. From 117 to the other, and it's Elliston now. Looking in the direction of Mitchell. Brings it down. Sniffing around the footy. It's just sprayed out by Hancock. Here's Williams. What can she do? Kicks over the top. The target there is Harper. She'll eventually get to it. Back for Williams. Just keeps it alive. Can't quite handle it. Soccer's back to Harper. They get it down the line. Webberley almost takes the mark. Wrestling for the footy. It comes out of her arms. Here's Williams again. Kicks it. Not getting a lot of distance on these kicks. The wind not working for the Roos in this quarter. Webberley climbs on top. Stoppage.
An absolute credit to the North Launceston coaching team. If anyone talked about Bonnie Farrell going back in defence to Bonnie Farrell only 6 months ago, her confidence would have been shot. But she looks very confident in that position now, and that's an absolute credit to the club.
Looks very comfortable. Playing a starring role for the Bombers. They've risked their way back into this game, but geez, that last goal that they should have had would have really helped things. Score still strongly favouring the Roos as they get a kick away, North Launceston, but not much distance. Here's Elliston. She's caught. Gets a handball out, coming the other way from Farrow. kick just over the head of Clifford, and Pearce just bursts through, kicking towards Garlow. Sort of split the gap between Garlow and Mitchell, but Garlow, great tackle. She's an eager beaver. She wants to play on. Can just poke over the top. Just short of the intended target. Still danger here for North Launceston. They've got to just keep it locked down. They'll climb on top. It'll be a stoppage. Fantastic tackle.
Absolutely.
As you see on the replay screen, just ragdolled her. Maybe should have gone back and taken a kick, but not to be. Alone brings it down. Coming through, Mitchell read it like a book. Didn't quite gather the footy. And they'll force another stoppage.
I think North Launceston have got a couple of very talented kickers. I think everyone else in the team should be going long and strong and try to put it to their advantage.
So, ball gathered deep in defence for North Launceston. It's Clarence now. Try and manufacture a shot through Liza Westland. Didn't quite work out. Trying to move it out of defence now. Clifford just forces it over the top for Farrow. Caught in a tackle. So Clarence do well just to keep it nestled in their forward 50. If they can manage to get a goal against the flow of play, make it really hard. It's down off Clarence's hands. Mitchell there slapping down. Be another stoppage, you sense, with Clifford. Look at that tackling prowess.
Only takes one more goal this quarter to North Launceston, and they'll feel like at three-quarter time they're in a sniff for this game.
No questions. The ball comes up again. Last time the two teams met, North managed to get the chocolates, but it was in much different conditions to today. As Scott's handball comes out the side, Mitchell, good tackle. So 6-4-40 plays 2-3-15. One more goal could light a fire under North Launceston. So they go again. It's gathered by McKinnell. Just gets a long boot on it. Valuable territory. Foot race on here. First to it is Clarence through Malin Westland. Comes down. Almost gathered by Anderson. Not quite. Out the back. Handball over the top. Looking for Farrow. Clarence win out again. They're away now. A little pokey ball over the top. Looking for Johnson. Well done in the finish by Hancock. Cut off what looked like a promising movement. Just got the kick away in the nick of time did Farrow. The goal kicker Hennessy. Strong tackle, but an illegal one, I sense. Yep, it'll go the way of Wise. So Wise ball. Should be Wise to spread on this side. Didn't quite get there. Off the hands of Brouard. Sniffing around his Bresner hand. She's going in like a, I don't know what. Going very aggressively. Bat out of hell. Something like that. As it comes out the side. Eventually the stoppage comes. Just throwing her weight around.
Absolutely. You rarely see that from Nicole too. She's a high quality player. She is intense, but you normally don't see her using a body like that. Well done to her.
Intense, you reckon? Okay. As it comes out the side, handball comes out. Iron off was Wise. Gee, she's been good. Slaps it out in the finish. And Garlow, while her kicking might need some work, her tackling doesn't. Fantastic.
And it's something she's added into her game recently too, is that defensive pressure.
The Rucks go to work again. Garlow just sniffing on the outside, but Clifford does well. Little toe poker. Somehow gets it to Cuthbertson. Maybe lucky to get away with it. Now with Scott. Scott gets a kick away, but it lands in Bomber arms. And it's Farrow again. She's been pretty busy. Drops it off. Clifford has space to assess the scene. Low flying ball. Almost worked for the Bombers. I'll lock it in there, the Roos.
And McKinnell looks like she's starting to get a bit closer to goal, which I think will be hugely important for them. She's been playing up the ground a fair bit.
So up it goes again. Wrestling for the footy. The issue is clearances are hard to get. They need a quick clearance and a deep kick. Easier said than done. So down off hands. Here is McKinnell. Shakes off one, tries to shake off another. Ran into trouble. Really good tackle by guess who?
Wise.
She's been unreal. She switches it out, finds her target, Elliston. She'll try and find Williams, but she was in a pretty average spot. Loams spilt the mark, comes back the other way from Farrow, but it should have been gathered by Pearce, wasn't. Drops down for Wise, good tackle applied, just shoved off it. Good follow-up by Wise. Pearce gets the kick away. This one will be a hard ball to handle. Williams eventually gets a kick away in the nick of time. Blackburn keeps it moving. Now they've got the extra. Loams can kick and look
Johnson.
for the goal kicker. McDonald went over her head. Almost there for Mitchell, not quite. McDonald now trying to trace it down. Comes out the back. Mitchell working hard for it, just tries to get it away. Johnson was the player out the back as you forecast. Gathers the footy, slaps it on the boot. I tell you what, that would have been something special. But it is a minor score.
She was roaming towards the goal square on her own. Only one disposal was needed by Clarence and would have sealed the game.
A big kick from Farrell finds the dangerous Cuthbertson.
Clifford's next.
See if Clifford is the next link in the chain. Over her head, it's Farrow. There is Clifford, running on through. Just looking for distance, you sense there with that kick. It's gathered by Clarence through Westland. Gets her kick away. Bouncing ball, gathered by Clifford. Clifford, a little one, steers it. It was all Clarence, it was Wise and Bresnahan. Wise ran into traffic and ran into trouble. So good tackle. Timely tackle. Nicholson just pokes it on the boot. That's been picked up in the wind. All Clarence out the back though. They should be able to negotiate this one. Garlow. She uses her speed. Gets away. The kick is good enough, but just splits the gap between two Clarence players. Will be picked up by Farrell. Fires out a handball. Here's Cairns. In trouble. It'll be a ball up.
Two ex-Scottsdale players looking for each other there.
Well, won well by Clarence in the ruck contest towards Mitchell, soccering. And good tackle applied by Cornish. Climbing on top with Oates. So, what are we? 15 gone in this term. So the ruck contest is won by North Launceston, but the ball goes the way of the Roos. They just get the handball out there, North Lonnie. Handball comes back in ball by Oates. Foot race on, Clifford first to it. Has Scott to deal with. Scotter. Really good tackle.
I don't know if Bronte's got the distance here. She might need to look to pass.
She doesn't look confident with the kick. In the end, she takes it on. Will it get the journey? It's touched. So you called that one well, Lee Elder, and it just keeps things alive for North Lonnie. A goal probably would have spelled doom. So Cuthbertson, they look for her on every occasion. That one has not gone far enough into the arms of Wise. She switches and finds Bresnahan. Bresnahan pops one over the top. I'll take your pick. Lands in the arms of Johnson, and she kicked one earlier on. Fancy she might just finish this one off and make it very, very hard for North Lonnie.
And good communication. Could have been a pretty ugly collision there. Both Clarence players going for the ball pretty strong.
So Johnson wasn't her best kick. Williams pouncing on the footy. Williams gets the kick away. It was a snap that never looked destined for goal. Cuthbertson not keen to rush the behind. Takes it away. Kicking again to Farrow. Carly Farrow's tried hard all day. Was snared by Clarence player. Just waiting for the footy was Johnson. Didn't know there was North Launceston players bearing down. Gather it eventually. Clarence through Wise. Gets some space. Wise, powerful boot towards goal. McDonald the target. Blackburn there. Can she soccer? I think that's a clumsy goal. I'm not sure she knew the ball was there when it touched her boot. but it matters little. It's a goal for Clarence.
You don't have pictures in the scorebook, but unfortunately our vision does.
As we see it again, I'm not sure she meant to kick Blackburn, but it doesn't matter. A goal for Clarence Roos, and one that's going to make it real tough going for North Launceston, who, despite all their good efforts in that quarter, didn't close the gap enough, you sense, Lee Elder.
No, unfortunately, it was just the one goal too many for Clarence there, I feel. Certainly a much better quarter by North Launceston. They really did put the pressure on. They got a fair share of the balance inside, and I think part of that was the lifting of the work rate from Jodie Clifford, which I did say she is that endurance athlete and she's just going to work into games. Certainly had a magnificent third quarter. Maggie Cuthbertson, Bonnie Farrell kept on doing what they were doing through the first half, which really made North Launceston look a much better outfit, there's no doubt. And a superb goal by Cara Hennessy, who'll be ruined the fact that she didn't actually get two. It was a great little contest, and unfortunately the next one was great pressure by Clarence. But Clarence just kept up their work rate. Mel Wise has been absolutely superb today on the half-back flank, and she almost created that goal there too in the forward line. So Clarence, I think, are home. I think there's no doubt that one goal probably just put it too far away from North Launceston, but they won't quit. We saw it in that third quarter. They'll keep trying hard.
It's probably important for Clarence, if they're going to try and forge their path to a grand final this year, that they go on and win this well.
Yeah, absolutely. Build that confidence. And what I like to see is so much really good outside run and effective disposals today. It's been superb. It's incredible how much the standard of footy has improved over the last couple of years.
No question. So the goal kickers, 7 individuals. We can't fit them all on the screen there for Clarence, in addition to the ones that are out there. We just saw a very lucky finish from Gemma Blackburn. I'm not sure she knew a heap about it. And the other one is Amy Prockpiece. It's also hit the scoreboard. Just the 2 goal kickers and 2 goals for North Lonnie. They were really good, and they probably didn't stack it on the scoreboard just how good they were in the early part of that quarter. But Clarence wrestled back the momentum, and they stay well in control. It's well, it's going to be a tough task for Clarence beyond this point, Lee Elder, particularly with Launceston and the way they've played so far this year, undefeated, of course, through the regular season. It's tough to mount a case for anyone really getting close to them, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They've been a remarkable team since day one this year. They've just got so much high-end talent, and obviously the inclusion of Libby and Chloe Wells just takes that to another level. So with Daria Banis, you're talking 3 AFLW listed players and quite a few that are future players, including Mia King, who unfortunately won't be playing finals this year, but that just shows you how much depth that they have got. And goal kicking power is quite impressive in that list. But don't underestimate what Glenorchy can do. Obviously last year's premiers. I'm sure that they'll come out fighting again. They've got some real experience, and I'm sure they'll try to rattle the cage next week, and we'll see what happens. But certainly Launceston go into the finals as favourites. There's no doubt about that.
No, so Clarence, well, we think from here they'll get the chocolates and move on into the next phase of finals. And really, the big question will be whether it's them or Glenorchy, you sense, going through to the big dance. And they're pretty evenly matched, aren't they, Clarence and Glenorchy? Clarence probably haven't played their best footy when they've come up against the Magpies, but I reckon that's a pretty well flip of the coin if they both play at their best.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think Glenorchy have probably got as many outside runners as what Clarence can actually put together, but you talk about famous families. The Barwick family at Glenorchy have got some impressive names currently playing on that team, so they can show a fair bit of outside run and pace, but I think it'll be a case of who can control whose forward line, because both of them have got some goal kicking power on their day. And I think that'll be the difference. So it'll be a really interesting clash if those two are in the preliminary final.
We also see just the TSL Glenorchy players and Lauderdale players warming up right now on the ground. The stream for that game will follow. Head to AFL Tasmania YouTube and TSL Facebook page for that stream. This game still has a quarter to run though. So North Launceston, well, we're talking as if the game's over. It is difficult to mount the case for them from here. They need probably a scoreless quarter from Clarence to get the job done. Really, what are they going to have to do? Probably triple their scoring for the day in one quarter. So it is difficult to mount a case, but funny things happen in this game of footy.
Momentum is a strange beast at times.
There's no game like it in terms of momentum, I reckon. Aussie rules footy. It's two TSL teams make their way off the ground and we get ready to roll in this last quarter. Clarence lead it 7-6-48. North Launceston 2-3-15, their first year in the competition. Got a lot to build off, even if today doesn't end with a win.
Such a young list too.
Keep them together, add a few little pieces around the edges, and who knows next year as it goes up again. The ruck duel continues, streaming through nicely. For the Roos was Harper, handed over the top. Cuthbertson gathers for North Launceston. First clearing kick towards 50. That'll be a free kick against Wise. Chopping the arms, so we'll go the way of Farrow. Farrow slaps it on the boot, long and deep. He's looking for her intended target there in Whitney. It'll be Clarence who make their way out of dodge. Or will they? Cuthbertson waits in the way, wastes no time on the reliable left. Maggie Cuthbertson, fantastic. Kicks the first of the last for the Bombers.
An absolute credit to one of the Farrow twins who actually made sure they got in front of Mel Wise rather than her taking an uncontested mark. And that's the way you work off halfbackers that are doing the cleaning up for you, is make sure that you're in front of your opponent. Exactly what she did, which created that scoring opportunity. And of course, Maggie Cuthbertson, such a class footballer.
Well, if they're going to come back and win this one, they needed the first, and they needed it quickly. So first part of the job done. Gathering in the middle was Harper for the Roos, spilling out, and it came to Cliff and then to Cuthbertson. She feeds over the top to Breward. Here is Breward. Has time and space. Kicks early towards Hennessy. Not quite. Comes out off a Clarence boot and bounces out towards Harper. She gathers, screws it inside. A wrestle for the footy. Going in hard always is Clifford. She's a workhorse.
Certainly is. I expect her to run and look even better this quarter.
So up it goes again. Down off hands. The ruck almost gathered. This proc piece that fed it back inside. Williams gathers. This way, that away. Gets a hand out. Comes to Cuthbertson. She goes out the back. Kick inside forward 50. Really good attack on the footy. Maybe a shout for a free kick. Just fired off a kick, did Whitney. And again, Clarence had the numbers. Or has she run herself into a bit of trouble here? Madeline Westland. Kick out, side of 50 and straight again to Cuthbertson. Knack of finding the footy. Measured ball into the pack. Arriving was Sulzberger. Brings it down. Garlow with the ball now. They wrestle. Be a ball up. So North Lonnie started this term well. Real energy and purpose. The ruck has it on her own, but breezing on through was Bresnahan. Terrific footy. The kick keeps on bouncing. Got serious territory from that one. Burrows onto it. Gets the handball out. Clarence, though, have Williams there. If they can feed her, she can use her pace.
You feel there's just one bit of class that just takes the momentum away from North Launceston here, but like the way they've started the last quarter.
So the rucks to go at it again. well won by Townsend. Comes out the back. Proc Peace tried to get it out. No, it wasn't Proc Peace. It was Harper rather. Ball inside. Here's Clifford. Has a bit of space to measure her kick. Just bouncing out in front of Whitney. She brought it into her arms and she's tackled from both sides. So it'll be ball up. It was well done. They'll go again. Down off hands. Cuthbertson claimed in a Bresnahan tackle. Coming through is Townsend. Back for Cuthbertson. Gets a kick away in the nick of time. We've got the numbers, Clarence. Should be able to work through this one. Hardner has Hennessy all over her. Drops it back. Oh, they've run into a spot of bother, the Roos. Managed to force a stoppage.
Well trapped.
At the numbers. So
I like the way they're structured, North Launceston too. Quick kick out for Clarence. It's popping straight back in.
So that stoppage didn't amount to much at all. Thrown in now. Bit of breeze here at Blundstone Arena. In comes the ball. Townsend, as she has all day, wins the hit out. Into the path of, I think it's Clifford. Trying to get a kick away. It was Whitney, in fact. Comes back the other way for Clarence. Williams the target. Brings it to ground. Looking for Elliston. There she is. Claimed in a tackle. Spills out the side. Williams just trying to force the footy Clarence's way. It's hard going. The breeze blowing to the left of screen.
You can see the pressure lift too. Players are getting a little bit more desperate, want to square this game away.
So in it comes again. Townsend has it on her own, but knocks it straight to a Clarence player. Now it's with Johnson. She does well. Looks back for Scott. She eventually gathers. Opts not to take Bresnahan. Kicks ahead of the footy. Here is Bresnahan. Nice fast hands over the top. Gathered by Scott. She kicks towards 50. Garlow arrives. Good tackle. Williams out the side if they can get it to her. Scott now. She goes exactly where I was looking. Williams. Can't quite bring the ball under a spell. Eventually gathers. Drops it off to a teammate. And they'll force a stoppage.
You could actually sense it there. It was just that one clean disposal and she was away.
So up it goes again. This one was won by Loams and almost for Mitchell. Here's Clifford. A lot of space for her to go to work. Kicking over the top. Not a bad bit of use. Not a lot of numbers there for the Bombers. And Garlow will take the footy. Manufactures a kick. Cuthbertson cuts it off. Puts a handball over the top of her intended target.
Great tackle.
It was Anderson who was in trouble as soon as she gathered the footy. Really good tackle from Darcy Elliston. So Elliston has Bresnahan with a short burst on a lead. Ignores that. Goes long to the numbers. Almost gathering is Johnson.
Jesse Williams, here it is.
Over the top to Williams, bursts through and misfires. That would have been curtains for North Launceston. An explosive
just love
player.
The way she hit it at pace though. That was beautiful.
She's very good at that, Williams. Nicely chopped off by the Roos. Elliston again, a couple of real nice involvements in recent times. She's just going to go along to the top of the square and Williams the target. She can get out the back. Be good to see. Ball just trickles its way over. So what is it, 28 points the margin. Well, we're waiting for a goal to put it to bed, but it's very, very, very unlikely as it's off hands. Almost there for Oates. Coming away from the congestion was Clifford. Gets a kick. She might mop up her own work. It'll be a Clarence ball.
And really the difference in this game was finals experience. Clarence just started the game so well, got ahead by 4 goals, and that's the difference now.
Bresnahan, absolutely terrific. Took a great grab, just faked a little, well, you saw the marks there, and then just played on with a burst and hit the target. Quality player. So Clarence to put this one to bed. Off the boot of Johnson. Steers it through. And if it wasn't over, it is now. Johnson with her second of the day. And the Roos, well, they're going to win this ball game.
They certainly are. But North Launceston should not be disappointed. It's only their first year of the competition. They were part of the Under-18 Development Series in 2018, which helped build this young list. They've kept them well, they've kept them together, and they're certainly deserving of playing in the finals. And the reality is just a lack of experience probably early in the game, which allowed Clarence to get the inside, gave them a bit of a margin that was just too far to catch up. But their pressure in the last 3 quarters have been tremendous.
Ball comes away off Bresnahan's boot, bouncing. Mitchell with real pace was coming through. Webberley has tackled well today, I've got to say. Don't know if she's had a touch, but she would have had 4 or 5 really good tackles. So the ruck duel again. Clarence looking to just add further punishment on the scoreboard. Dying embers of this game. Goes out the side. Webberley gathers the footy. She'll try and slap it on her boot. Probably a throw. Sulzberger trying to gather, coming away. Work Clarence. Here's Johnson again, not quite in her arms. It's off the boot of McKinnell. She picks out her target. Sophie Farrow. Farrow slaps on the boot. Strange old spinning ball. Gee, she's done well to mark that. That was a tough one to gather for Tiffany Whitney. She whacks it on the boot. Kicking towards a target there, and Farrell, who looks to be have swung forward. It's gathered by Farrow, and she's caught in a tackle.
Obviously a move just to try and get a bit more score on the board. She performed so well in defence, and it was worth a shot.
Why not? As in the ruck now. This time it's Hennessy going to work. In there is Scott. Gee, she works hard in and under all day. Garlow, well, she threw that out. Bresnahan takes the ball and kicks to vacant space, and Brewood arrives. So Brewood hooks up. Fair few flat feet. Kicking towards Farrell. Won't get the journey because Bresnahan is there.
Her actions there were saying, no, Nettie, it's mine.
Yeah, give it to me, I'm the big dog. Oh, she might be in trouble there. Just gets a kick away, but she's going to get 50 because...
The move on, play on.
Yeah, so it was a move on, not play on, and Farrell was confused. And maybe fortuitous for Bresnahan, but she'll take advantage, kicks towards Williams, tried to just shield the ball. It's now out for North Launceston, and an unconvincing kick off the boot of Nicholson might put them back in danger. McDonald just gets the kick away. Here's Williams. What can she do? Some late fireworks. Unselfish, gets over top to Johnson. Play on called. Gathered now by Harper. Back for Johnson. Ball blocked. It's caught in between her legs. Be a ball up. Forward 50. So up it goes. Loams arrived late and arrived well. Came out. Try and get a shot away here, Clarence. They've kicked a fair few goals today, but haven't really had a likely avenue. They're not absolute target. Probably Williams, but she's played mainly on a wing as good tackle applied here by Oates.
Yeah, they certainly put their quality on the half-back and through the midfield today. Just trying to keep control of the football, just ensuring that North Launceston didn't have too many opportunities.
So tap one, out from the Loams. Here's Bresnahan. She's got better as the game's unfolded. Kicks inside. Really good kick, looking for Johnson. Couldn't complete the grab. Mitchell tries to get it to Williams. Mitchell again here. She might be a sniff. Got it out, but it went into opposing hands. They just fight for it.
in saying that. It's been a winning formula for Clarence. So credit to the coaching group to making that decision of really supporting that half-back line and midfield and going that with their strengths.
So another stoppage. And Clarence won't mind this. Just milk the clock. Make sure no one gets injured. Up it goes again. It's won this time by Hennessy, who's having a little stint in the ruck. Kick comes out of defensive 50, almost gathered by Westland. Not quite. Pearce there. Burn off one, gets a kick away. Mitchell the target. Good. Oh, I almost thought she took the grab, not quite. Just spilt the crucial moment. So 8:7:55 plays 3:3:21. Bresnahan bursting through, hits it with pace. Little pokey ball looking for Mitchell. Interrupted. Clifford now comes in to win the footy. Red and white pole on top. There's stoppage.
That's been the pleasing thing today, how many different players have really hit the ball at pace. Impressive, backing themselves in. Fantastic work.
So Looms wins it down. Here's Cuthbertson. She's been terrific in a losing side. Gets by a couple with ease. Measured ball. Had to thread the needle between a couple of Clarence players. It comes out the back to Farrell. She just tries to paddle it to herself. Doesn't quite work out. Numbers with the ruse. Oh, miscued handball. It was a hard nut. But no holding the ball cool. So right area of the ground for North Launceston though, as Townsend has a wild swing at it. Doesn't make contact. It's just thrown out virtually by Cornish. Some unconvincing disposals here, but the umpire lets it run. Trying to gather the footy is Farrow. Squeeze out of the ball. Here's Bresnahan. She'll try to use her wheels. Look at that. I'll take you on, she says. Kicks towards Blackburn. Nicely done there in the middle by Johnson. Loams over the top. Kicks the vacant space. Brown and McDonald in a foot race. She just pushes over her opposition. Tries to bring it under a spell. It was well fought back by McKinnell. She gets it to a target in Clifford. And they're away and okay. Gathering is Pearce. Come back. Williams almost cut off. Oh, just a wild swing at the ball in the air. Gathered again by Johnson. She's been pretty industrious. Out the side. Sweeping through was Oates. Gets her kick away. Almost. It was off Hancock's hands. She gathers. She'll be helped out eventually. Dumped in a tackle. Will be thrown on in.
Well, they certainly haven't stopped both teams with their desperation for the footy, even though we're only a couple of minutes away from the end of North Launceston's debut season in the competition. But absolute credit to them. They've been fantastic this year.
They have indeed. She's thrown on in. It just bounces to Mitchell and she looks to take toll, but doesn't hit the right part of the footy. Out on the full.
And look who.
Cuthbertson. She's always sniffing around those ones. She'll look to use her foot skills. That's probably her worst kick today. Straight down the throat of Oates. Oates looks up, looking for Mitchell. She arrives, but too late. It was gobbled up by McKinnell.
Well, I don't reckon we've seen up forward enough today. Leading goal kicker for the Bombers.
That is a helicopter kick, but the direction on it was good enough. The arms of Carly Farrow. She pokes over the top. It was almost there for Sophie. Farrow didn't quite gather. Now there's a fight. Monty Scott underneath it all. As he's become accustomed to.
Underrated Bronte Scott, in and under. Does a lot of the hard work that you don't see.
Hennessy with the hit out, and the siren sounds on a big win for the Clarence Roos. They march on into September, 8:7:55. They defeat North Launceston 3-3-21. The pretty polished and professional performance from start to finish, Lee Elder.
Absolutely. Quite an impressive display by Clarence. Obviously playing a team that hasn't played finals at this level before, but they were quite superior, especially in that first quarter that really set up their lead. Mel Wise, a little bit surprised, but moved to half-back. Very, very impressive. Normally known being smarter around the goals, but she was just superb. Read the play so well and just rebounded so many times for Clarence. Bronte Scott, as I said before, just incredible on the insides. Very impressive game today. A couple of the young players I thought did quite well in Procopice and Oates. I think they were quite impressive today. Of course, Bresnahan just showed a class all day, just sweeping around, and she was the double act with Mel Wise, was quite impressive. Jess Williams, of course, I thought she was showed her talent today, kicked an absolute beauty as well. Nettie Garlow's certainly defensive work, as we said, she needs a bit of work on that disposal, but just got on her hands on the footy and the opponents quite regularly. I thought Georgia Alone, especially in the first half, was actually quite impressive in her role in the ruck. So I think they just had a really good performance. Natalie Pearce as well. Kicks go up in the air a little bit, but she got a lot of the footy. North Launceston should not be disappointed. Hayley Brouard was very important to them. Jodie Clifford really came into the game in the second half. Sophie Townsend did well in the ruck. Bonnie Farrell, deep in defence, was absolutely superb today, but no holding back their best performer, Maggie Cuthbertson. She's just a class act.
She's a class act, and so would Clarence Roos. They win this one, 8-7, 55, 3-3, 21. They march on into September, as I say. North Launceston, their first season in the TSLW ends here, but they've shown a lot in their first year in the competition. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage. We'll be back in not too long with the Bupa TSL live stream between Glenorchy and Lauderdale. Stay with the TSL Facebook page and AFL Tas YouTube for all that action. Bye for now.